Today we are going to dive into the golden rules of Stoicism through this hour-long video. From the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius to the fundamental principles that have the power to transform our lives, we will explore how this ancient philosophy can be applied in the modern world to help us face daily challenges and find a deeper sense of meaning in our existence. If this is your first time on my channel, I ask for your support by subscribing and liking the video so that I can continue to create more content like this in the future. As we embark on this journey, I invite you to reflect on your own life, question your beliefs, and consider how the principles of Stoicism can help you achieve greater mental clarity, lasting inner peace, and a deeper connection with the world around you. Prepare to immerse yourself in the wisdom of the Stoics and learn timeless lessons that will guide you toward a more fulfilled and meaningful life. This journey is not just an exploration of Stoicism, but also an opportunity to transform your perspective and find a path to authentic happiness and inner fulfillment. Let's begin. The world is full of traps at every corner, ready to strip away your masculine power. Just take a look at every celebrated Netflix movie or show being promoted, or the type of people idolized today. Nothing escapes the mind control agenda of the elites. Men are brainwashed to accept weakness. There's a very famous story about a lion that I want you to hear. Once upon a time, there was a fierce lion feared by all. One day, the lion fell in love with a farmer's daughter, but there was a problem. The farmer hated the lion, and upon learning of the lion's love for his daughter, wanted to do everything in his power to prevent it. So the cunning farmer called the lion and told him that he would allow him to marry his daughter on one condition: that the lion remove his sharp claws for the safety of his daughter. The lion thought this was a small price to pay for a great reward, so he went to a rock and broke off his claws. The next day he went to the farmer and said, "Now I have no sharp claws, give me your daughter's hand in marriage." But the cunning farmer told him to do one more thing: remove his sharp teeth and canines. The lion agreed to this condition as well and broke off his teeth and canines. However, when the lion returned to the farmer the next day, the farmer attacked and killed him. This time the lion had neither claws nor sharp teeth to defend himself. Everything that gave the lion his strength he had chosen to give up voluntarily, one by one. Remember, brother, the world you live in today is no different. There are far greater forces at play that have carefully designed the matrix to keep you enslaved to your desires and impulses. And here's the harsh truth. You can blame the farmer or the elites as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it was the lion who chose to comply voluntarily. Strength is the virtue that all men must pursue, whether in professional, financial, or romantic life. Every man naturally desires to feel dominant, strong, and powerful because that is who you are. All men aspire to a strong sense of motivation, but many of us lack it because we surrender to behaviors that prevent us from becoming the strong men we were meant to be. Today, men complain about everything, spend too much money on drugs and pornography, apologize to others for things that don't require apologies, and develop habits that weaken them. Number 1, mocking others. This is a point few people talk about, but as a man of value, you should never belittle others to elevate your own status. It can make you appear insecure and disrespectful. This is a crucial aspect often overlooked when discussing true masculinity. You may have heard the example of the crab bucket. When one crab is about to escape, the others pull it back down. When someone tries to improve their life or achieve a goal, others may feel uncomfortable or jealous. This type of attitude is neither constructive nor honorable. If you find yourself mocking others, remember that you are placing yourself beneath them, period. Of course, this doesn't mean you shouldn't correct someone for their mistakes, but don't mock them. As a man, you should teach and guide your brothers without resentment or ulterior motives. You can offer constructive correction and valuable advice so they can learn and grow. Remember, strong and confident men don't belittle others. On the contrary, listen to what Mike Tyson has to say about this. Social media has made you all too comfortable disrespecting people without getting punched in the face for it. Number 2, failing to accept responsibility. Going back to the story of the lion and the farmer's daughter, the main reason the lion lost everything in the end boils down to the fact that he wasn't aware of his responsibility. His responsibility was to live as a lion. His claws and sharp teeth were part of what made him a lion, but he forgot that responsibility and chose to abandon it. The same applies to your life. Embrace your responsibilities with pride. Responsibilities are not a burden, but an integral part of our existence. The day you choose to run from your responsibilities is the day you choose to abandon your masculinity entirely. I want you to memorize this quote. The price of greatness is responsibility. Repeat it. This not only strengthens our own identity as men, but also contributes to the well-being of those around us. Responsibility should not be avoided or abandoned. On the contrary, it should be embraced as a path to greatness and the realization of our potential as men. Number 3, fleeing from failure. This is a challenge for many men today. Most choose comfort over growth. Remember that growth is painful and often hidden behind failure. There's the famous example of the man digging for diamonds. He doesn't know that just a few inches below the surface lies the diamond, but he keeps digging. At first he sees only more dirt, but he persists. After hours or even days, he finds what he was looking for. So remember, brother, failure is not the end. If that's the mindset you have, you can be sure you'll never achieve anything. Think about anything worth achieving. Suppose you start a business. At first, you might face many failures as you try to figure out the business and win over your customers. But when you stay in the game long enough and don't try to flee from those temporary failures, you'll see yourself grow. The same applies to women. At first, when you approach them, you might seem like a strange man who doesn't know how to interact, but your success is hidden behind those temporary failures. It's a small price a strong man must pay for success. Often, we are conditioned from childhood to be ashamed of our mistakes and failures and to try to justify them by blaming someone else. You might have said, "It's not my fault," or "It's that person's fault." Those are the thoughts of a loser. I want you to listen to this quote and write it down somewhere if you like. A weak man is one who blames his failure on the strength of others. Number 4, submitting to futile laws too easily. Want to know the difference between a coward and a man of value? Simple. The coward always aligns with the majority, even if what they say is clearly wrong. And the worst part is that a man of value also submits to these futile and harmful laws and regulations. A man of value always examines and judges everything before deciding to follow. In today's world, we've been so conditioned by the mindset of you shouldn't judge or you shouldn't do this or that it becomes uncontrollable. You're nothing but a puppet and a lab rat at this point, submitting to every agenda and law they create. There's nothing wrong with obeying, but only obey what aligns with your purpose, your mission, and above all, remember that nothing is above the law of the Almighty. Ask yourself if you're someone who is easily intimidated and tries to please everyone. For some men, it can be incredibly difficult to learn to say no, but if you act based on truth, you'll realize the world won't collapse around you. I've seen many men live in fear in their marriages, as if their wives were tyrants and they don't dare speak up or contradict them. This is a clear example of futile submission. Number 5, having weak body language. The concept of body language is very important. This includes nonverbal cues such as a handshake, eye contact, how you sit, walk, and move when you interact and connect with others. People can perceive whether you're a strong or weak man through your body language. In today's society, where agendas and expectations may have turned their backs on traditionally strong masculinity, it's more important than ever for men to be aware of their body language. Being intentional with your body means making an effort to project an image of confidence, strength, and determination. Maintain an upright and confident posture, walk with a firm and steady step, and maintain appropriate eye contact when interacting with others. Be intentional with your body and maintain a masculine posture. Remember, your body language is your calling card before you even say a word. It can influence how others perceive you and how they treat you. If you present yourself as a strong and confident man through your body language, it's less likely that others will try to take advantage of you. This is a valuable skill for any man seeking to succeed in personal and professional life. Number 6, wasting time. We always talk about the importance of your younger years on this channel. Your 20s and to some extent your 30s are what we call the golden days. These are the days when you must build, build, and build. Imagine a farmer planting a seed. He doesn't expect the seed to bear fruit the next day. In your 20s, just like the farmer, you must plant spiritual, emotional, and physical seeds that will help you grow. But here's the most important part. Don't expect to reap those fruits immediately. Just keep planting, and before you know it, you'll have planted forests and gardens that will attract the right kind of life. When I say plant, I mean challenge yourself. This doesn't mean you have to exhaust yourself and work 24/7, but always keep in mind that these are the days when you have the most energy and opportunities to take risks. Take advantage of them. Especially when you're young, you might feel like you're missing out on the culture of dating multiple people by investing in yourself, but resist that temptation. You might not understand it now, but as you mature and grow older, you'll thank yourself for avoiding those distractions. Listen to what the wisest man on earth has to say about your younger years. Here are the words of Solomon. You who are young, rejoice in your youth. Let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Follow the impulses of your heart and what your eyes see, but remember that for all this, God will hold you accountable. Number 7. Being lazy and unproductive with your time. The way we structure our day and manage our time can make a huge difference in our journey towards success and personal growth. What time do you go to bed, and what time do you wake up? How is your day structured? What do you do when you get home from work? These are all questions you must take seriously. Don't treat them as secondary tasks you can tackle when you have free time. As a man seeking to succeed in all areas, you must carefully plan your day. Think about how powerful people are so successful. Every aspect and area has been carefully planned. Likewise, reflect on every part of your day, the people you interact with, and the type of content you consume. If you don't have the right thoughts in your mind, know that you've given free access for the matrix to infiltrate you. Laziness is the greatest enemy of men today. As a man, you may have many ideas related to business or life, but you never act on them. If you let laziness creep into you, it will gradually consume you without you realizing it, preventing you from progressing productively in your life. Always remember, brother, that laziness only succeeds against weak men, for a man of great value quickly learns to detect and correct it. Stay ever vigilant of laziness and combat it as soon as possible. So remember, brother, weakness is the virtue of the modern age. Weakness is what the masses seek, but strength is your greatest virtue. Seek strength at every opportunity, and remember that God is your greatest strength. Every day presents opportunities to grow and move toward our goals, and it's up to us to seize those opportunities consciously and decisively. Strength, both physical and mental, is a valuable asset in this quest, and seeking support in personal and spiritual beliefs can provide a solid foundation for facing life's challenges. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers in history, ruled as Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD, and was the last ruler of what later became known as the Five Good Emperors. Marcus Aurelius held one of the highest positions of power in the world at that time and dedicated his life to justice and fairness, a truly honorable feat, given that he had access to fulfilling all his temptations and desires at will without any obstacles. During his time as emperor, Aurelius found time to write a series of autobiographical texts, now known as the Meditations, which have become one of the most significant texts within Stoic philosophy. In the Meditations, Aurelius provides guidance on self-improvement, focusing primarily on adopting a cosmic perspective and critically analyzing the judgments you have about yourself and others. As the leader of a powerful empire that went through multiple wars during his reign, Aurelius used his own Stoic philosophy to eliminate stress and be the most reliable and effective leader possible. Stoicism is an ancient and profoundly influential philosophy that represents not just a theory, but also a deeply inspiring way of thinking and living. The Stoics firmly believed that doing what is right was the key to achieving individual happiness, and to do what is right, one needed sound judgment and clear, rational thinking. Now, we will explain how you can cultivate a Stoic mind through 5 essential lessons, all based on the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. Lesson number 1. Embrace the virtues, quoting Marcus Aurelius. Explore within yourself, for a source of goodness is ready to spring forth if you persist in your quest. A virtue can be understood as an excellence of character, or in simpler terms, morally correct behavior. This behavior benefits both you and those around you, and also contributes to the common good. Stoicism embraces the idea of an interconnected universe where everything and everyone shares a bond. Consequently, what serves the common good ultimately benefits you as well. Therefore, the Stoics firmly believed that those in harmony with reason were those who dedicated themselves to the greater well-being. In other words, they practiced virtues. Conversely, the absence of virtuous conduct is attributed to vice, according to the Stoics. When life leads you to unforeseen circumstances, virtues can be your guides, steering you onto the right path and keeping you centered. This is why those most enriched with virtues often radiate tranquility and composure. To incorporate virtues into your life, it is essential to internalize the four cardinal virtues of Stoicism: practical wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. From a Stoic perspective, wisdom involves discerning between good, evil, the indifferent, and everything in between. This means overcoming emotions and allowing reason to guide what is morally right. When faced with a dilemma, wisdom empowers you to analyze both options with mental clarity. Next comes justice, which is based on wisdom and represents a commitment to what is fair and equitable for both yourself and others. The Stoics considered it a duty to oneself, others, and society as a whole. Courage, as the third virtue, empowers you to act even when you feel personal fear. It urges you to take action for the common good, or to face challenges despite uncertainties about the outcome. Courage does not assume the elimination of fear, desire, or anxiety, but rather a conscious decision to move forward, overcoming emotional barriers. Finally, temperance, also known as moderation, involves maintaining balance between extremes. It's about exercising self-control, restraint, and discipline. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the human capacity for self-regulation, which sets us apart from animals. Temperance prioritizes long-term well-being over momentary gratification. Take a daily example. A bag of chips may offer momentary pleasure, but threatens long-term health and mood. In this case, practicing temperance means stopping after a few bites. Wisdom is essential for determining the appropriate amount before putting on the brakes. Stoicism categorizes both things and actions into good, bad, and indifferent. Seeking the good, avoiding the bad, and accepting the indifferent according to personal preference are fundamental principles. Straying from these virtues would be to promote evil, such as stealing, disrespecting others, acting recklessly, or refraining from doing good. Actions considered indifferent, like taking a leisurely walk, do not align with these principles. These virtues offer more than just personal improvement. They foster a state of serenity and composure. Aligning your actions with these virtues ensures that you are always moving on the path of righteousness, guided by reason, and thus cultivating a tranquil mind. Lesson number 2. Embrace a broader perspective. In our closing quote from Marcus Aurelius, he eloquently shares Plato's wisdom. When you want to talk about people, it's better to take a panoramic view and see everything at once. Adopting a panoramic view is a vital aspect of achieving mental clarity amidst the hustle and bustle of life. We often find ourselves caught up in the details of every problem and challenge, feeling as though we carry the weight of the world. Imagine being part of a small crowd. It might seem like the entire city is suffocated by congestion. However, changing your perspective by taking just a few steps back can reveal a completely different reality. In the intensity of the moment, you might perceive an action like littering as trivial. However, stepping back and reflecting on the bigger picture, considering how others might act the same way, the insignificance of your desire to litter becomes evident. As mentioned earlier, the Stoics firmly believed in the interconnectedness of everything in the world, positing that improving the world as a whole inherently contributes to personal well-being. Therefore, stepping back to embrace a global perspective, instead of focusing solely on your own life, is of immense importance. By adopting a global perspective, You will always have the bigger picture, freeing you from the constraints of biases or doubts. Lesson number 3. Practice the dichotomy of control in the words of Marcus Aurelius. Your power is in your mind, not in external events. Recognize this, and you will find strength. The dichotomy of control is the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. For example, the weather, traffic problems, or what others think of you are beyond your control. But how you dress, what time you leave, and the type of people you surround yourself with, these you can control. So, whenever you find yourself in a situation that makes you feel a certain way, ask yourself, what is within our power to control? Everything we can control is a reason to act. What we cannot control, we must learn to accept and embrace without allowing it to affect us. A crucial part of the dichotomy of control is amor fati, which translates to love of fate. When you embrace life and all the circumstances it brings, you will always love life. You cannot escape fate or decide the circumstances beyond your control, but you can choose to love your life no matter what. If you find out you've been rejected for a job you wanted for years, you might think, there's no redemption in such a situation. You wanted the job, you tried, and you failed. You might claim to love fate in a circumstance like this. However, that's a misunderstanding. Instead of viewing the fact that you didn't achieve your ambition as something purely negative, investigate what led to the negative outcome and use it to make a positive decision. Whether you didn't get the job because of a mistake on your part, in which case it's something you can control, and you can work on those mistakes and try again when a similar opportunity arises in the future. Or the reason was an external factor, like nepotism or a personality conflict with a hiring staff member. It was never within your control. That means the opportunity never truly existed, and there's no point in getting upset over something that never existed. A part of accepting fate is detaching from a fixed outcome and external markers of success. If, for example, you want to be a writer and measure your success by the number of sales your book makes, then you're allowing your success to be controlled by the arbitrary book market of the moment. But if you choose to measure your success by how satisfied you are with your final product or by the amount of effort you put into it, then you control your success. Without a doubt, do your best to achieve your goals, but keep in mind that there's a possibility of not achieving them, and accept that in advance. By focusing only on what we can control and committing to accepting what is not within our control as it comes, we experience inner tranquility no matter what happens. Lesson number 4. Train your perception. Marcus Aurelius advises us, choose not to feel harmed and you won't be. One of the great lessons of Stoicism is taking control of our perception. We have a habit of judging everything we encounter, every event we experience, every person we meet. Everything receives a judgment. It's good, it's bad, it's boring, it's fun, it's beautiful, it's ugly, and so on. This practice, though unconscious, is exhausting and can negatively affect our lives. For example, labeling every interaction during a particularly tough day as terrible taints the day with an even more negative perspective. Labeling a party as boring becomes the narrative of that week. Often, we allow our emotions to influence our judgments, which means they are not entirely rational. Moreover, our tendency to judge every moment goes hand in hand with the excessive use of metaphors and hyperbole, which exaggerate situations. If your partner leaves you, you might say your ex broke your heart, instead of accepting the fact that feelings have changed. This way of thinking shapes our emotions. It's not the event itself that harms us, but rather the way we choose to think about it, often unconsciously. The Stoics, on the other hand, encourage caution in evaluating everything you encounter and the actions you take. One way to be cautious involves challenging your judgments, which essentially means looking beyond them. It's the ability to set aside your first impression and evaluate something through a more optimistic and reasonable lens. You could try to see that boring party as an opportunity to explore a new place and meet a few different people. Even if you later find that you didn't connect with anyone, you didn't go in with the expectation of negativity. Therefore, practicing Restraint in not judging everything based solely on your initial impressions and emotions is the best path to training your perception of life. Every time you form an opinion about something, try asking yourself, is this logical? What did I base my opinion on? Is there a better or more positive way to interpret this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that harm only exists if you perceive it as such. This implies that any difficult experience you've been through seems more difficult and negative the more you perceive it that way. You have total control over how much certain situations can affect you. The Stoics also encourage seeing anything negative as an opportunity or source of good. As an exercise to cultivate a Stoic perspective, there's a challenge called turning the obstacle. For example, when a new colleague is a slow learner and their mistakes impact the company's profits, you might feel frustrated. This colleague becomes an obstacle to what you're trying to achieve: efficiency, productivity, and profit. However, this situation can also be an opportunity for good. It's a chance to practice patience, improve your skills as a teacher, learn how to integrate new people into the company, and manage stressful moments. All these skills will be useful in the long term and should contribute to increasing profits in the long run as well. On this subject, Marcus Aurelius famously said, "What hinders action advances action. What stands in our way becomes our path." In short, instead of judging everything in an exaggerated way, take the time to see things objectively as they are. You might discover that life is simpler and clearer than you thought. Every situation has a positive and a negative interpretation. By adjusting your mindset, you can choose the positive one. As a result, you will find that the troubles of the past no longer affect you as much, and you navigate life with much greater ease. Lesson number 5. Learn to control your emotions. Marcus Aurelius warns us not to let our emotions dominate our mind's reasoning. We must stop being hypocritical, self-centered, and irritable. Acting impulsively due to emotions is often presented as a stark contrast to rational action, and this is not without reason. Nothing clouds our judgment more than our own emotions. Therefore, if you wish to maintain a clear mind at all times, one of the most crucial skills you must master is the ability to control your emotions. According to Marcus Aurelius, the emotion of anger in particular harms us more than it helps. Contrary to what many believe, mastering your emotions does not mean suppressing them. When you feel intense anger following a betrayal, you cannot control that anger by denying its existence, whether to yourself or others, or by pretending everything is fine. It will remain there no matter how much you try to repress it. On the contrary, according to the Stoics, mastering emotions like anger is achieved by redirecting them. So the next time you feel anger, ask yourself what you can do with that anger. Yelling at the person who hurt you may seem tempting, but will it help reduce your pain or improve your situation? Will it help the person who betrayed you become better? In short, think about what you're tempted to do, then ask yourself if it's useful. If it's not, find ways to express your emotions in a helpful manner. Perhaps you could achieve better results by calmly talking to the person who hurt you, explaining your feelings, and trying to understand their perspective. You could also write in a journal, engage in physical activity, lose yourself in a video game, or do anything else that helps you release your anger. Another example would be anxiety or fear. You cannot simply stifle these feelings, but you can channel them in another direction. Instead of allowing anxiety to paralyze you, you can view it as a personal challenge, as a driving force to take actions that make you anxious while acknowledging its presence throughout the process. Imagine you're too afraid to ask your boss for a raise. For many, this fear becomes a reason to avoid taking action, and they are defeated by their anxiety. Others might push forward and see their anxiety as an obstacle to overcome or ignore. However, neither of these perspectives needs to be the only option. Instead, your fear is something that can be expressed healthily and may even end up being useful. For example, this fear makes you think about everything that could go wrong, which leads you to consider all the possible questions your boss might ask and all the counter-arguments you might receive. This way, you can prepare for them and form a plan for every possible scenario. But most importantly, Fear provides positive motivation to move forward, to challenge yourself and grow as a person, to prove to yourself that you can do it, not despite your fear, but partly because of it. In this scenario, you can be aware of the anxiety throughout the process and think about how incredible it is that you're trying anyway. When you can skillfully redirect intense emotions, you become someone who remains serene, regardless of the circumstances, and your emotions never impair your ability to think clearly and make intelligent decisions. Mastering your emotions is essential for maintaining mental peace amidst the tumult and discord of contemporary life. It's common to feel caught in a whirlwind of emotions, anxiety, and circumstances that seem beyond our control. While we constantly aspire to tranquility and joy, Stoicism presents itself as an ancient guide that directs us toward inner serenity, even in the face of external adversities. Now we will explore the fundamental pillars of Stoicism. In this journey of philosophical reflection, we will examine how the practice of acting as if disturbances do not affect us can help us find true inner peace. Stoicism, with its roots in ancient Greece and Rome, offers us a valuable approach to facing life situations with a historical mindset, where our reactions and perspectives are shaped by wisdom and rationality. We will discover how emotional mastery becomes armor against adversity, how the discipline of thought frees us from the tyranny of uncontrolled emotions, and how detachment allows us to embrace life with openness and flexibility. Through the lessons of historical philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, we will learn to accept reality, see adversity as an opportunity to strengthen ourselves, and use the power of choosing our responses in any situation. Stoicism is not just an ancient philosophy, but an eternal compass that guides us to find inner peace in a tumultuous world. Join us on this journey of self-discovery and transformation as we explore how adopting an unperturbed attitude can lead us to a state of serenity and stoicism, navigating with tranquility and elegance through the vicissitudes of life. To firmly understand Stoicism, it is essential to establish a solid foundation in its fundamental principles. Stoicism is not merely a philosophy, but a guide that leads us through life's storms, allowing us to find inner peace regardless of external circumstances. As mentioned earlier, here are the fundamental concepts in a simplified manner. Distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. The Stoics believe in the importance of differentiating between what is within our control and what is beyond our reach. Much of human suffering comes from worrying about things that are beyond our grasp. Instead of distressing ourselves over what we cannot control, we should direct our energy and attention toward what we can directly influence, such as our attitudes and actions. The importance of our responses. For the Stoics, it is not so much the events themselves that affect us, but rather our reactions to them. Cultivating a calm and controlled mind involves learning to respond to situations intelligently and rationally, rather than being dominated by impulsive emotions. This requires developing the ability to handle adversities with calmness and wisdom, regardless of the challenges circumstances may present. Accept the changing nature of life. This is one of the core principles of Stoicism. It reminds us that life is full of inevitable ups and downs. Instead of resisting changes and difficulties, we are encouraged to embrace and face them with acceptance, knowing they are a natural and inevitable part of the human journey. By accepting the impermanence and changing nature of all things, we find serenity even amidst adversities, virtue as a guide. This is a central principle for the Stoics, who consider virtue the path to happiness and inner peace. Cultivating qualities such as wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage helps us live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. These virtues guide us in making ethical decisions and allow us to maintain our moral integrity, even in the most challenging circumstances. In summary, the fundamental principles of Stoicism invite us to develop a mindset that clearly distinguishes what we can control from what we cannot, teach us to control our emotional reactions, accept change as a natural part of life, and live ethically. By building this solid foundation, we are prepared to further explore the lessons and practices of Stoicism. We discover that acting as if disturbances do not affect us leads not only to inner peace, but also to emotional imperturbability, regardless of the adversities we may encounter in our life's journey. To achieve inner peace through Stoicism, detachment presents itself as an invaluable tool that frees us from the chains of desires and expectations, allowing us to find serenity and emotional balance. Let's examine in more detail how detachment can guide us in our quest for emotional peace. Eliminate attachment to outcomes. Detachment teaches us not to be overly attached to the results of our actions. Instead of obsessing over achieving specific goals, we focus on giving our best in every situation. We accept what comes with serenity and without excessive expectations. This attitude frees us from the stress and anxiety associated with the fear of failure, allowing us to embrace each experience as an opportunity for learning. Discover new possibilities. Practicing detachment makes us more flexible and receptive to the opportunities life presents. By not being rigidly attached to a particular outcome, we are open to exploring new paths and discovering potential in various situations. This mindset allows us to adapt to change and offers us the ability to see difficulties as challenges that can lead to personal growth. Live in the present. Detachment pulls us away from constant worry about the future and allows us to fully immerse ourselves in the present moment. By letting go of anxiety about what is to come, we find a deeper connection with the present. This connection brings us inner peace, as it allows us to appreciate the small joys of life and find meaning in the current moment. Tranquility in the face of uncertainty. Life is full of uncertainty and unexpected challenges. Detachment provides a solid emotional foundation that helps us navigate the turbulent waters of life with grace and serenity. By freeing ourselves from resistance and struggle against the inevitable, we find deeper tranquility. This inner peace allows us to face obstacles with calmness and consideration, rather than being swept away by waves of anxiety. In summary, practicing detachment means letting go of the attachments that bind us to anxiety and excessive emotional connections. It offers us the freedom to live with less anxiety about outcomes, allowing us to be open to new possibilities and find peace amidst uncertainty. By embracing detachment, we come closer to acting as if nothing perturbs us and living with a stoic mind that adapts gracefully to life's changes. The discipline of thought is an essential path to inner peace through Stoicism. It is a fundamental tool we can use to shape our minds and develop a calm and balanced attitude. Here is a more detailed guide on how to cultivate this discipline in a simple way. Awareness of thoughts. The discipline of thought begins with awareness of the thoughts that pass through our minds. We become observers of our own minds, examining how we react to different situations and how these thoughts influence our emotions. This self-awareness allows us to better understand our emotional responses to various circumstances. Challenging. Negative interpretations. When our minds tend to interpret things negatively, the discipline of thought invites us to challenge these automatic interpretations. It encourages us to consider more objective and realistic perspectives, helping us see situations from different angles and avoid exaggerated reactions. Changing negative thinking. Once we have identified negative or distorted thoughts, the discipline of thought challenges us to change them. We replace self-destructive thoughts with positive and rational affirmations. These affirmations help us maintain a calm mind and approach situations with a clear and serene spirit. Focusing on what we can control. The discipline of thought involves directing our attention to what is within our control. We let go of what we cannot change and focus on our actions and attitudes. By avoiding worry about things beyond our control, we preserve our mental energy for what truly matters, our reactions, and how we choose to face situations. Practicing. Gratitude and reflection. Gratitude and reflection are essential practices in the discipline of thought. Appreciating what we have and reflecting on our achievements and learnings helps us maintain a positive mindset. Gratitude allows us to appreciate life's small joys, while reflection offers us the opportunity to learn and grow from our experiences. In summary, the discipline of thought provides us with the tools to transform our minds into a space of clarity and serenity. By being aware of our thoughts, questioning negative interpretations, and practicing gratitude, we build a solid foundation for a balanced and stoic mind. With this practice, we come closer to acting as if nothing perturbs us and finding inner peace in all situations. Serenity of mind lies at the heart of Stoicism, a virtue that urges us to find inner peace even amidst emotional storms. This quality manifests in several ways. Maintaining calm in the face of adversity. Serenity of mind involves not succumbing to tumultuous emotions when faced with difficult situations. Instead of giving in to panic or anger, we cultivate the ability to remain calm and composed. This calm gives us a tranquil perspective, even in the most challenging moments. So, controlling our reactions. The Stoics understand that we cannot avoid life's challenges, but we have control over how we respond to them. Serenity of mind allows us to face difficulties with calmness and reflection instead of being carried away by emotional impulses. This self-control enables us to handle situations with wisdom and consideration. Having a long-term perspective. The Stoics encourage us not to let momentary events dictate our emotions. We remind ourselves that what truly matters is our actions over the long term. This perspective helps us avoid exaggerated reactions to temporary setbacks and guides us toward greater emotional stability. Emotional behavior in the face of pleasure and pain. Serenity of mind is not only about maintaining calm in difficult moments, but also about not letting fleeting pleasures dominate us. This attitude allows us to find deeper and more lasting peace, as we are not tied to the temporary fluctuations of pleasure and pain. Finding stability in detachment. By cultivating serenity of mind, we learn to detach ourselves from emotional extremes. This allows us to find stability and inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. We avoid dramatic highs and lows and maintain a balanced attitude in all situations. This self-awareness guides us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In summary, serenity of mind equips us with the ability to maintain calm, control our reactions, adopt a long-term perspective, and find inner wisdom in all circumstances. By cultivating this virtue, we come closer to acting as if nothing perturbs us and living with unshakable inner peace. Visualization of adversity presents itself as a powerful tool for facing life's challenges. Although it may seem paradoxical, imagining how to deal with difficulties can strengthen our emotions and help us maintain calm in tough moments. Here is a simple guide on how to practice this technique. Anticipating difficulties. Visualization of adversity involves taking a moment to imagine difficult situations that might arise, from a simple, uncomfortable conversation to a problem at work. This exercise helps us mentally prepare for these challenges, visualizing a serene response. Once a difficult situation is identified, visualize how you would like to respond. Imagine yourself remaining calm, serene, and rational, even in the face of adversity. This exercise helps cultivate a stoic attitude and avoid impulsive reactions. Strengthening emotional resilience. Visualization of adversity allows you to practice emotional resilience in a controlled environment. By mentally managing difficult situations, you can train yourself to maintain calm and find solutions rather than succumbing to stress or frustration. Finding opportunities for personal growth. By imagining how to overcome obstacles, you develop confidence in your abilities and see challenges as opportunities for personal improvement and growth. Reducing anticipatory anxiety. Anticipating difficult situations often generates anxiety. Practicing visualization of adversity reduces this anxiety because we mentally prepare to face whatever may come. This allows us to maintain a calm and peaceful mind. In summary, visualization of adversity is a mental exercise that empowers us to prepare for any challenge life may present. By anticipating difficulties, visualizing serene responses, and practicing emotional resilience, we build a solid foundation for facing these situations with calm and determination. Acceptance of reality presents itself as a compass that guides us toward a calmer and more balanced life. In our journey toward inner peace through Stoicism, learning to accept circumstances as they are can be a challenge, but it is a powerful tool for finding serenity. Here is a more detailed guide on how to cultivate this valuable quality. Understand what is within your control. The Stoics remind us that many things are beyond our control. Accepting reality involves recognizing this fact and focusing on what we can control, our reactions, attitudes, and actions. By understanding this distinction, we free our minds from the burden of worrying about what is uncontrollable. Cease struggling against reality. Resisting reality only causes more suffering. Accepting reality invites us to abandon the struggle and embrace what is, learning to adapt to circumstances rather than fighting against them. This brings us greater peace. Avoid unnecessary battles. Fighting against what we cannot change exhausts us and fills us with anxiety. By accepting reality, we free ourselves from unnecessary struggles and direct our energy toward improving what is within our reach. This redirected energy can be used to grow personally and contribute positively to the world around us. Find beauty in imperfections. Life is full of imperfections and challenges, but it also has its own beauty. Accepting reality as it is teaches us to find courage in difficult situations and appreciate the full human experience. Imperfections and challenges are an integral part of human existence, and by accepting them, we learn valuable lessons that help us grow and evolve as individuals. Cultivate inner serenity. Accepting reality is a path to inner serenity. By freeing ourselves from the struggle against the inevitable, we find deeper calm and release ourselves from unnecessary stress and worry. Cultivating serenity allows us to face adversities with calm and grace, which in turn brings us greater inner peace. In summary, accepting reality is like opening the door to inner peace. By understanding what we can and cannot control, abandoning resistance and finding beauty in imperfections, we build a stoic mind capable of finding calm in all circumstances. In our relentless pursuit of inner peace through Stoicism, we are taught the idea that we must give, share, and prioritize generosity above our personal interests. However, we are warned about the dangers of being overly kind and compassionate. We live in a world where we don't always receive what we give, as it is filled with generous people who deplete their financial and emotional resources through indiscriminate giving. Excessive generosity could even endanger our own lives. Be amazed by the unexpected negative effects that kindness could bring you. Now I will reveal the 8 things that happen to you when you are too kind and introduce 4 Stoic strategies to prevent people from taking advantage of you. Number 1, you will have unrealistic expectations of others. The Stoics emphasized the need to accept circumstances as they are and not base our happiness on the actions of others. By giving without expecting too much in return, you avoid disappointment and practice emotional detachment, which leads to greater mental peace. Imagine this scenario. You strive to be generous and kind, giving your best to others without expecting anything in return. This attitude is noble, but often we find ourselves consciously or unconsciously expecting others to respond with the same level of generosity. What happens when these expectations are not met? The root of this problem lies in our expectations. By assuming others will respond in the same way we do, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position. While it's natural to desire that others appreciate and value our actions, Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control others' actions. We can only control our own actions and reactions. Number 2, people will only expect you to give them something. The practice of moderation, so valued by the Stoics, becomes an anchor in a sea of incessant demands. Instead of giving in to others' unlimited requests, Stoicism urges us to balance our generosity. By giving in a balanced way, we maintain control over our actions and avoid falling into patterns that drain our emotional well-being. People often adapt to situations and environments that are comfortable for them. This human tendency is the origin of the concept of the comfort zone. If we constantly take on others' responsibilities, We allow them to stay in their comfort zone. They don't feel the need to grow or face challenges because they know we will always be there to support them. The problem is not just for others, but also for us. By taking on so many external responsibilities, we neglect our own needs and priorities. We get caught in a cycle of giving without receiving, which depletes our energy and undermines our well-being. Practicing moderation and giving in a balanced way allows you to maintain control over your actions and avoid falling into habits that drain your emotional well-being. If you get used to giving all the time, the recipients of your generosity will come to expect you to give something all the time. It's important to give, but it's also crucial to maintain balance. By setting clear boundaries and practicing generosity in a balanced way, we not only preserve our own peace and well-being, but also encourage others to take responsibility for themselves and grow as individuals. By finding this delicate balance, we discover true generosity that nurtures both others and ourselves. Number 3, your priorities will be trampled. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living according to reason and virtue, setting boundaries and prioritizing our essential responsibilities to maintain balance and avoid sacrificing our authenticity and well-being for others. If you prioritize others' needs over your own, you may end up neglecting your own desires and responsibilities, losing yourself in the process. Your inner voice is drowned out by external demands, and when you face the solitude of your being, the pain and fear you've avoided resurface with renewed force. It's crucial to recognize that taking care of our own needs and priorities is not selfishness, but a form of self-care and preservation of our authenticity. Number 4, you will be seen as weak and treated. Accordingly, Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner strength and self-control. If you help excessively over time, you might be perceived as a figure of authority in the area where you collaborate with others, but you could give exactly the opposite impression. A lack of boundaries makes you vulnerable. People perceive this weakness, and instead of respecting you, they may start to take advantage of you. They see you as someone ready to take on responsibilities without questioning, which can lead to a situation where you are constantly overwhelmed, exhausted, and frustrated. Number 5, you will have many acquaintances. People will only come to you when they need something. When you become someone who is willing to help unconditionally, it's natural for those around you to notice. However, this attention can have a dark side. People who previously considered you a good friend may start to exclude you from fun social activities, reserving your presence only for when they need something. Number 6, you will attract only needy people and never those ready to give. According to the Stoics, our actions and thoughts emit an energy that attracts people with similar resonances. When we cultivate a positive mental and emotional state, we radiate high vibrations that attract equally positive people. However, when we give indiscriminately and exhaust ourselves emotionally and physically in the process, our energy weakens, and we begin to vibrate at a lower frequency, which attracts needy people toward us. Number 7, you might fall into addiction. When the Stoics warn us about the possibility of falling into addiction, they remind us that moderation and self-control are essential for maintaining a balanced and healthy life. In the context of generosity, practicing self-discipline protects us from falling into addictive patterns that can arise when we feel constantly drained and in need due to our overextension. Number 8, you will arouse suspicion. Stoicism encourages us to act virtuously, regardless of how others may perceive us. By focusing on living in harmony with our principles and values, we build an authentic reputation, resistant to unfounded suspicions. To prevent people from taking advantage of you, here are 4 Stoic strategies. Strategy number 1. Listen to your feelings. Based on the Stoic idea of self-awareness, pay attention to your emotions and feelings. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-reflection to understand your reactions and needs. By listening to your feelings, you can identify if you're giving too much and emotionally exhausting yourself, allowing you to adjust your approach and find a healthy balance. Strategy number 2. Lose the fear of the word. No, following Stoic teachings, recognize that your time and energy are valuable and must be allocated consciously and in a balanced way. Saying no in situations where you feel overwhelmed or when the request is unfair is a way to exercise self-control. Although the word no is associated with negative and pessimistic behavior, it's normal to struggle with saying it. However, negativity is what your life will become if you don't develop the ability to say this word when someone demands more than you can give. Strategy. Number 3. There is a time and space for you. Respect them, in line with the Stoic principle of self-discipline and self-respect. It's essential to take time and space to care for yourself. Do what you love. Practice yoga, draw, listen to music while having a cup of tea, or anything that motivates you. Finish your obligations as early as possible so you can indulge in these activities. Take this practice very seriously, as if you're scheduling this time daily or weekly. If someone asks for your help during this time, they must be very respectful and cooperative with you, not the other way around. Therefore, without regret, tell them no and enjoy that time and space for yourself. If you don't want to be too abrupt, you can offer your help at another time, but always clarify that your availability will be limited because you have a life to dedicate yourself to. Strategy. Number 4. Identify energy vampires and distance yourself from them. Following the Stoic principles of self-discipline and discernment, it's important to recognize which relationships benefit you and which might emotionally drain you. By distancing yourself from people who consistently drain your energy and do not contribute positively, you take care of your own well-being and apply Stoic self-control in your relationships. If you try to help an energy vampire, know that it won't work. These people overwhelm you with their complaints, pain, and catastrophic view of life. Forget trying to help them. They don't want to solve their problems because that would mean they'd have to stop complaining. That's something a Stoic does not do in life. The best balance for things is always the middle ground, and generosity is no exception. If we give too little, we seem selfish and greedy, but if we give excessively, we end up completely drained in terms of energy, time, and probably money. So lean toward the grays, which remain the preferred tones when it comes to finding a balance between prioritizing others and ourselves. And when in doubt, always remember the magic word, no, especially if someone offers to drive you home from the car window. If you enjoyed our video, give it a like, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube knows this type of content helps people like you, and we can continue to create more similar videos in the future.